Hey guys, this is Oscar doing another weekend project. Today we're going to go ahead and change the lower ball joint on this 2003 Toyota Sequoia. The first thing you want to do, if you're going to lift this vehicle, just make sure you chock the back tires so that when you lift the vehicle in the front, you can have a good support there. So let's go ahead and get this started. Just a little information, my truck has about 130,000 miles. And it's basically a little bit overdue, so let's go ahead and change that lower ball joint. Alright, let's get started. Okay guys, don't forget, safety first. Make sure you use jack stands whenever you're working it into your suspension. Now that I have my both jack stands supporting the vehicle, I have my floor jack as a extra means of support. I don't really need it, but just in case my two jack stands failed, I have that as a backup. Alright, so in order to do this job successfully, you will need, of course, the actual part. I'm actually using AC Delco, a lower ball joint. This is the part number. This is for the driver's side, and this part number is for the passenger side. It is recommended that whenever you do any type of ball joints, to basically do them in pairs. I got these at Amazon brand new for like, I want to say $38 a piece. I read they were really good reviews. This is my first time using this type of brand. So what I like about it, it comes with everything. It comes with the new bolts I'm going to use. So now that we have those parts out of the way, the next step, we're going to go ahead and remove the rim. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so next step, we're going to go ahead and remove the rim. Alright guys, let me give you guys a little close-up of the lower ball joint, which is this piece right here. I don't know if you can see, but we have one bolt here, another bolt behind there, and then on the other side, at the bottom, we have this this nut we have to remove. And again, on the other side is going to be another bolt. Let's see if I can show you. There we go. This is bolt right there, and then the one at the bottom, right there. So the first thing we're going to do, we're actually going to loosen these 4 bolts. 1, 2, and then the ones in the back. 3, 4. Okay. Again, we're going to loosen them. We're not going to remove them yet, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so the next step, we're going to go ahead and just loosen these 4 bolts. 1, 2, and the 2 in the back, okay? Again, we're just going to loosen them. We're not going to remove them completely. And I forgot to tell you, these are 14 millimeter nuts on 4 sides. Okay, so now, okay, the next step, we're gonna go remove the tie rod, the outer tie rod. So let me go ahead and turn the tire that way, so that way we can have a better shot of removing this tie rod. Okay, now that we have a better clear, so we can kind of remove the outer tie rod, we're going to go ahead and remove the cotter pin, and then we're going to remove this caster nut. So let's go and do that here. Okay, now that we have that cotter pin removed, we're going to go ahead and take this caster nut out. This is a 19 millimeter nut. So let's go and remove that here real quick. Alright, let's see if we have any luck, if this just pulls down freely by itself. Nope, it doesn't come off. So we have two options. Okay, so in order for us to free the outer tie rod, you have two options. You either have the option to pull out the Thor hammer and just bang away. Just be careful, don't go Donkey Kong on it, okay? If the Thor hammer is not your thing, there is a special tool, which is a tie rod puller, which I'm going to use for this demonstration. I'm just going to put it over the steering nickel, like so, and then I'm just going to adjust it to the actual tie rod in bolt there, and then the top part. This is a 19 millimeter. I want to say I could use a 19 millimeter socket, so I can turn that. And I'm just going to use a regular ratchet to kind of turn this, so that way that tie rod and oh, okay. So I guess it wasn't that stuck after all. But if this was really stuck, once you keep on turning this, what's going to happen, you're going to hear like a huge pop. And that's going to be basically your tie rod and popping out of the steering knuckle there. So now that we have this free, I'm going to remove the tie rod end puller. And then I'm just going to wiggle this tie rod and out of the way, like so. So let me go ahead and put it out of the way. Okay, so now that we have that out, we're going to go ahead and remove remove this caster nut, which is the bottom of the lower tie rod, the lower ball joint. Okay, so we first have to get this cotter pin out, so let's go and do that here real quick. Bear with me, guys. Try to do this with one hand. Okay, so let's go ahead and take out this castle nut out, okay? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and remove this castle nut. This is a 24mm nut or a 15/16. So let me go ahead and take that out. I'm gonna use my cordless impact here to remove this bad boy. Let me see if I can do this with one hand, okay? Bear with me. Okay, there we go. Let's see if this bad boy could take this off. Ah, there we go, like butter. Alright. Just gonna remove this. And then the next step, we're gonna go ahead and basically free the lower ball joint from the lower control arm right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, again, we're gonna go ahead and remove the lower ball joint from the lower control arm. You have two options. You can bust out the Thor hammer again, and you will bang it right here, like so, like that. The only problem with that is that you run the risk of hitting the backing plate of the brake. Or second option, you could reuse the tie rod end puller to pull the ball joint as well. Let me show you how you do that, okay? You're just gonna go ahead and kind of pry this in there like so, and then you're gonna go ahead and adjust, kind of get like a middle angle, so when you pull on this bolt, you're gonna, you know, do a horizontal as well. I'm sorry, vertical. So let me go ahead and help you show you how that looks. Hopefully you can see that. And then what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this puller. See that right here? This is a 19mm. I'm gonna put a 19mm socket, so I'm gonna go ahead and start turning it, and this should pop out. You should hear like a long, a really loud kind of knock sound. Okay, so don't get scared. It's just the ball joint getting free from the lower control arm. So let's go and do that here real quick. Okay, so there you go. I guess this proved me wrong, because normally you'll hear like a huge pop sound, but I guess my lower ball joint wasn't that stuck after all. Alright, so there we go. Free that bad boy out of there. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna reverse this so I can take this out like so. But you can kind of get an idea. Like I was trying to show you, you actually have to put the tie rod puller underneath here, like so, and then you would kind of align it straight, so that way when you turn this upwards, it's gonna go ahead and push the lower ball joint bolt upwards. Okay, so you kind of get an idea. I encourage you to buy one of these. You could buy these at your local auto parts store for, like, I paid I think $15 for this one. Believe me, it's gonna save you a lot of headaches instead of banging on that lower ball joint. Alright, let's go and do the next step. Okay, now that we have the lower ball joint free from the lower control arm, we're gonna go ahead and pull up on the steering knuckle, and then we're gonna remove the lower ball joint. Let me show you a little bit. Actually, let me show you a trick. If you have someone helping you out, the other person could race this for you while you change the ball joint, lower ball joint. But in this case, since I'm working alone, I'm gonna go ahead and use this is a 1x4 wood. It's about 34 inches long, or 2 feet and 10 inches. What I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna use this piece of wood, and I'm gonna pry it. I'll pry it between the upper control arm, like so. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna manually lift the steering knuckle. At the same time, I'm gonna place this piece of wood underneath here. I'm just gonna make sure that it's sitting on the floor correctly, so that way, since I'm by myself, I'm gonna go ahead and change this lower ball joint. So let me show you that little trick in action. That way you can kind of see how easy it is. Okay, let me get that started here. Okay guys, so this is what I was talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and put this piece of wood. I'm actually gonna lift the steering knuckle. It's pretty heavy, that's the reason why I'm using this wood. I'm gonna lift it up, and again, once I lift it up, I'm gonna try to see if I can pry this wood in this section right here, this part right there underneath it. Okay, at the same time, I'll make sure that I have a sturdy floor so I can make sure that the wood stays in there. Okay, so let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. Let me guys get you a good angle, kind of see what I'm talking about here. Bear with me. Let's see. Okay, 1 second. So you guys can see that. Alright, let's get this done. Okay. Alright, so again, I'm just going to have it near the place where I'm going to raise the upper control arm. And again, I'm just going to grab the steering knuckle, lift it up. Okay, while I'm lifting it up, I'm gonna put this. Let me get a little bit more up. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. All right. So now with that place, let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so now that I have that piece of wood and pried in here, as you can see, it's basically right held in place here. I just want to make sure, and it's kind of like an angle. Let me see if I can get a better picture. It's kind of like an angle. And again, now I'm able to move this like so. And again, just, you know, again, it's just in case you're by yourself, and because this actually weighs a lot, you kind of get an idea once you do this job. But now it's giving me some room here, so I can kind of maneuver this around and take the lower ball joint out. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Bear with me. Let's see here. Let's see if I can move this to a better angle where I can show you how to remove that ball joint. Bear with me. Okay. Alright, so basically that's a view, and now it's gonna be an easy job. I'm gonna go ahead and finish removing these 14mm bolts. So let's go ahead and do that real quick here. Alright guys, let me give you guys a better angle of how we can work about this. I'm just moving the steering knuckle to kind of like where the sway bar, the sway bar link right there. I'm just maneuvering this like so, and again using my hands, and that piece of wood there is helping me out a lot. So now I have basic clearance to do the job, kind of work on this. And as you know, the brake line's perfectly secure. I'm not pulling it in any way, shape, or form. But now I'm gonna have more room, and it's gonna be easy for me to basically take it off instead of having to hold this huge weight of the steering knuckle. Hopefully this trick kind of like guides you in a way. Okay, so let's go and remove this. I'm gonna use my cordless impact to finish the job here. Okay, that's one. Two. Three. And get this 4. Okay, you see how easily it comes out? That's perfect. That's what we want to do. So let me go ahead and remove this out of the way. Give me 1 second. Alright. This is just a protective boot here. Alright, and this is the lower control arm. So we're going to go ahead and get the new one and put it back on, okay? Let's go and do that here real quick. Okay, so just with any part that you install, just make sure you compare it with the one you're actually installing. Let me get this bad boy out of the bag here. Alright, let's go ahead and compare these two. Okay, I'm looking at making sure they're the same lengths, same width. Alright, it looks good. Just turn it around. Okay, got that. Alright, looks good. So again, the good thing about this part, it comes with the new hardware, so I will not be using the old nuts of the old one. Let's see what else I have. Okay, so this is a cotter pin, and then I have the grease fitting there. Okay, and then the caster nut comes on already. Alright, so make sure it's nice and stiff. Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's good. Alright, let me go in. I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to put the grease fitting, and then we're going to install this bad boy, okay? But I just want to kind of take the time and, you know, go over this very important step. Just make sure you're comparing your new part with the old part, and everything looks good. So let's go ahead and get this installed. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and install the lower ball joint, but before I do, I just kind of again want to show you my setup. Again, I got the piece of wood holding up on top here of the control arm, like so, and you can see it's not moving. And again, this is just easy for me to do this, that way I don't have to kind of like struggle since I'm by myself. So let's go ahead and put the lower ball joint back in place. So let's go ahead and get that done here real quick. Alright guys, so the next step we're going to go ahead and install the lower ball joint, but before I do, I'm just going to grab like a wire brush. I'm just going to go ahead, whatever type of dust, or rust it has, just kind of like clean it up a little bit. You could also use some like brake cleaner if you want, but mine just has a little bit of rust. No big thing. Just clean that up really good, like so. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start installing this. And again, we're just gonna do like the reverse order. I'm gonna put this here like so. Make sure I align that correctly. And then I'm just gonna start pulling on the bolts by hand. Remember, I'm not gonna tighten them. I'm just gonna put them on for now. There we go. I'll tighten them once I actually put the lower ball joint bolt into the lower control arm. So for now, I'm just gonna hand tighten them. Bear with me here. Okay, we got 3. And as you can probably see, I'm not going to use the dust cover. My ball joint has the dust cover already, so we're good to go on that. So let me just go ahead, make sure this is nice and snug. And again, we're just going to hold it in place. Alright, so now that we have this in place, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the lower ball joint. Let me get you a good angle so that we can kind of see how we're going to do that, okay? Okay, so now that we hand tighten these bolts, don't forget to put the grease fitting in, otherwise you'll forget. But again, now that we have hand tying these bolts into the lower control arm, we're going to go ahead and put this into the lower control arm. Okay, lower ball joint to lower control arm. So let's go and do that here real quick. I'm just going to move it. Again, I'm using my 2 hands. Just going to move this like so, like that. And I'm going to slowly, with this hand, move the wood slowly out of the way. See if you can kind of like see that. Just be careful in this step. Just wiggle that out like so. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and maneuver it to the lower control arm. I'm gonna take the wood out of the way. All right. So now that we have that in place, we're gonna go ahead and just shake it in place, push it down. And as you can probably see, let me show you. The lower ball joint is connected to the lower control arm. So now the next step, we're just going to go ahead and install the castle nut. I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten this like so. We'll get you a better angle here. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and start torquing these down, but we're going to first start with the bottom one. So let's go ahead and torque that bad boy, okay? Okay guys, so the next step, we're going to go ahead and torque this nut to 103 foot-pounds. Make sure you use a good torque wrench to do this, okay? So let's go ahead and torque it to 103 foot-pounds, but also keep in mind we gotta put on the the cotter pin. So be aware where that little hole is here. Okay, so when I torque it, I'm gonna be aware that there's gonna be, I need this castle nut to be facing this way so I can install that cotter pin. So let's go ahead and torque it here real quick. Again, this is a 24 millimeter castle nut. Alright, there we go. Alright, and again, you see how this is a little bit facing that way. This should be facing this little space here. I'm gonna try to see if I can put it here, okay? Never go backwards to try to put it back. Always tie it so that way you don't lose that that pressure. So let me go ahead and see if I could get that in place. Just a tiny bit more. Almost there. Okay, there we go. That looks good. So again, my cotter pin is going to go in here like so. Let me go ahead and get this in here real quick. Get my Thor hammer, bend this like so. Alright, so now in case this gets loose, the cotter pin's gonna go ahead and just try to retain it or stop it. Okay, and again, that's 103 foot-pounds. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the tie rod in. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we have torqued the bottom, we're gonna go ahead and put some grease on the fitting here. Go ahead and do that here real quick. Once you put grease on the lower ball joint, we're going to go ahead and get that tie rod in place. So let me go ahead and grease this really quick, and then we'll go to the next step. And just keep in mind that this is the best time to grease the lower ball joint, because right now we have a good access point where we can get that done. So let's go ahead and do that here real quick, because if you try to grease it once you have the tie rod installed, it's going to be very difficult. Right now we have a good clearance, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way, okay? Alright guys, so next step, we're going to go ahead and put the tie rod back in place. This is going to be torqued. Well, let me go ahead and put it in real quick. Bear with me. Alright, here we go. Let's see if I can find that nut real quick. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put that castle nut. And again, be mindful of where the axis, there's like a little hole there. That's where we're going to put the cotter pin in. So just keep in mind where it is. We're going to go ahead and torque this tie rod in, castle nut to 67 foot-pounds. So let's go ahead and get that started here real quick. Alright, let me go ahead and get a torque wrench. Okay guys, I have my torque wrench. Again, this is going to be torqued at 67 foot-pounds. So let's get and get that torqued here. Give me 1 second. Alright, there we go. 67 foot-pounds. Alright, let me make sure that that cotter pin could fit in there. Okay, you know what, I'm gonna see if I could turn it a couple more turns. Let me see here. A little bit more. A tiny bit more. There we go. See that little hole right there? We're gonna go ahead and put that cotter pin in. So let's go and do that here real quick. Okay guys, I'm about to install a cotter pin. The one that I had, I took it off it. I'm not gonna reuse it. I'm just gonna get a new one here. Let me get this one. You could get these at Harbor Freight for like about $6, so you can have those handy. So let me go ahead and put this bad boy in here. Alright, there we go. Alright, good to go. Alright guys, so next step, we're going to go ahead and torque the bottom bolts on the lower ball joint. Just going to do that here real quick. Okay, so the last step, we're going to go ahead and torque the lower ball joint bolts. These are 14 millimeter bolts. We're going to go ahead and torque them at 59 foot-pounds. Remember, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and torque those here so we can have we're gonna have a good tight fit. Okay, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, here we go. That's 59 foot-pounds. I'm going to go to the other side. Alright, 59 foot-pounds. I'm going to go here. I normally go in a crisscross direction. Over the years, I guess I just got used to it. Alright, 59. There we go. And then the last one is on this side. I'm going to turn this. I'm going to turn the steering just a tiny bit so I can get to this side. But remember, 59 foot-pounds. And then that basically wraps it up, guys. Hopefully this helped you guys out, and you know the rest, you just put the rim back, the tire back on, you're good to go. And again, easy job. Hope you guys enjoy this, guys, and have a blessed day, and thanks for watching.